Part 2. The Age of Heroes. Ooh, superhero landing. That's really, yeah. I like his armor. I like how it's like got like a life of its own.
Yeah.
Keep looking. What else do you have?
See what I mean? Like literally every shot is so nice. I don't know. Like that's just cool to me. I just like whatever things are really good looking.
Did you ever think that maybe there's more to life than being really, really, really ridiculously good looking?
That's a cool setup.
Cool version of Batcave.
I don't think that is the Batcave.
It's not?
No, I think that's
that's
Star Labs. Yeah, because I think that's Cyborg's dad.
Oh.
Oh no, that's that's Cyborg's dad, but that's in the Kryptonian spaceship.
That was a good mop shot.
Yeah.
I was thinking. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
You always want to see a good mop splash just the right way.
Absolutely.
Who's the mop guy?
Yeah, don't kill the mop guy. Oh, that'd be so terrifying.
Yeah.
That'd be scary. Oh. Wait, so did only one person die in that entire thing?
No, because there was all the... Well, I guess all the other women fell in the water, so they couldn't recover their bodies or something. Because there was
I guess,
other
yeah.
women and...
Oh no, this isn't... Okay, this isn't a burial. This is they're gonna shoot the arrow. That makes more sense. I was like, oh my gosh, only one person? It's impressive.
She like misses, like, oh dang it, I have to say that whole speech again.
Oopsies. Not maybe shoot it, but she had like the.
Did you see how far she just shot at David?
Yeah.
Obviously, you've been doing your part.
I guess so. Yeah, I mean that's pretty far.
Who did this? Did they see it?
Ryan Choi ends up becoming a superhero in the comics as well.
Oh, that wasn't stolen. Was it?
That guy?
Stolen?
No, that was misplaced a while ago.
Working on an ID sketch?
He just slammed it up there with such force. Looks like Batman.
It does look like Batman.
It's a parademon though, right?
I think so.
Yeah. She was able to just walk up to it.
And take it?
What? What?
There would
No,
definitely be some kind of investigation.
there's
going on.
no way. Because these people are terrible at their job. She's like not even hiding it. Like she wasn't being subtle about anything. Is she about to make an arrow?
She's gonna kill a vampire. Try to stay.
Oh. Oh, that's cool. Did you get a secret passageway? We'll have to go check that out sometime. Go to Greece. What? That's sick. Oh, that's awesome. It's like Indiana Jones. See, at least now, like, see, we're figuring out how they know about stuff. This is good. The original one, they just like know things, and you're like, what the heck? How did you know this information?
Yeah.
Hey, I can read some of that. It's in Greek.
What does it say?
One word said kata, which just means according to.
Nice.
It's a preposition.
David solved it all. According to, that's the answer.
It was moving too quickly. Oh yeah. No, that'd be terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine like being by yourself out there? I mean, it wouldn't help if you were with other people.
Yeah. Being out there in general.
Yeah.
You just know you're gonna die.
Aquaman's just standing there too. He's like, it's fine, dude.
Oh, so you're the reason the boat's sinking. You're standing on top of it.
Yeah, does he just have like magical feet or something? Oh, got that slow-mo again. This movie could really be a 2-hour movie.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Man, he just keeps like throwing away his shirts. Like, where's he getting these shirts at? Because he just keeps like discarding them.
I don't know, and for being a person that protects the ocean, he sure is throwing a lot of garbage in it.
Yeah, right?
Just save the turtles, guys. Come on now.
He's just standing there for a while.
I bet that would actually feel good. Like if you could resist the power
Yeah.
of it pushing you.
Wait, does he not have to like...
That's what I was like. He wasn't moving anything, right?
Wait, so he's just like flying through the wall. Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So he doesn't even have to like paddle or anything. He just like has like this like weird...
You just like.
That's cool.
This would be really cool if you could swim like this with
Yeah.
the fish around and all that.
Above or below.
Yeah, this makes more sense too because in the original one, they never explain how he knows where the mother box is at or anything. It's like, oh, okay.
It won't fall. Like all the others.
What was that guy's name?
Desaad. See, this villain's already a lot more fleshed out. In the original one, he just kind of just shows up and is like, "Oh, I'm bad!" Yeah! And you don't really know why.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, it's like, oh, so I guess he was a failure. And he's like, I want to be buddies with Darkseid again. Here we go. That's Zeus, I believe. And Ares, maybe? Who is that, Darkseid? Oh boy, is that him? Uxus? Oh yeah, Darkseid. That's so cool. Oh, Green Lantern. That's cool. Nice. Ooh. Oh, ouch. Oh my gosh. No wonder Ares is the god.
Should have gone for the head.
Should have gone for the head.
You should have gone for the head.
Their culture. In case the box should ever wake again to call out to the planet apocalypse.
Why did they move them? It seemed like where they had them was pretty good, pretty well hidden.
So why were they moving?
Yeah, I don't know why they
Already
moved them. It seemed
somewhere.
like they already had them hidden, but made for a cool shot, I guess.
Like how is burying it underground better?
Yeah, I think like having it buried in solid ground, like
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
They said the Age of Heroes would never come again.
Hey, the Age of Heroes! It's the name of this section.
And it's.
The others,
The others,
where are they?
let's get them. Alright, Zack Snyder's Justice League, Part 2, The Age of Heroes. I forgot the name of it for a second. What did you think about Part 2, Sean?
I liked it. There wasn't a lot of there wasn't tons of action besides like the flashback scenes, but it was a lot of important context.
Yeah, I think that was the, I was trying to figure out, like, why each chapter or part is named what it's named, and I guess it makes sense that this is the more context-driven one, because the first one was called Don't Count on It, Batman, and that one was basically just Batman trying to do stuff and realizing nobody wants to get together and help out on this whole situation.
Yeah, well, the two, like, contrast each other. The first
Yeah.
one talks about, like, how they are separated, but then this one talks about how they used to be united.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the Age of Heroes, right? It's about, okay, well, in the past they were united, and so literally this chapter ends with Diana telling Bruce, like, hey, we need to get these people together. And so there's hope at the end, right?
Yeah.
And so, like you said, not a lot of action. It's more backstory. And I'm excited to see what you thought about the backstory stuff, because I've got the main points here. We're not going to talk about every single thing that happens here, because really a lot of it's not important, and you can really address it later on in the movie and stuff, but I'm just going to talk about the main points so that we can make this quick and not have this like super long detailed video like we do sometimes. But the first main thing we want to talk about, and we're not going to like talk about like, okay, this happened, then this, and this, and this. We're just going to like talk about like the main character of this scene and like just what happened with them through this part, right?
Yeah.
So the first person we're going to talk about is Steppenwolf. Because in this chapter, we start off with, the whole thing starts with him arriving in Russia, and he brings the first mother box there, and then he, like, grabs that parademon, like, throws him and says, go find the other ones. And then later on, we catch up with him, and we have him talking to this guy named Desaad, who is basically the executive assistant of Mr. Darkseid, or whatever, I don't know. And he starts basically giving a mission report of what's been going on. So what'd you think about Steppenwolf and all the stuff going on here?
Definitely gives him a lot more backstory. I mean, after that scene, you realize that he actually has stakes in the matter, which makes him a lot more interesting of a villain than just like I hate the world, I'm edgy.
Yeah.
It's like he actually has a family, and like it doesn't make you sympathize with him, but at the same time, it's kind of like the Joker movie. You're not supposed to side with the Joker, but like
Well, it makes you understand that, every villain views themselves as the hero, right?
They're justified.
Yes, exactly. Whereas in the original, whatever you want to call it, I don't know. This is technically the original, but in the Justice League version, Steppenwolf just shows up and he's just like, I want to kill everybody, I'm evil, and then like he's got this weird fascination with the mother boxes. He keeps calling them like mother. He's like, mother, and I'm like, I don't think that's what's supposed to be going on here. It's like really weird. Whereas in this one, I do actually I feel really bad for the guy. Like whenever he starts giving Desaad those little those puppy dog eyes, I'm like, oh, poor little guy. Like he just wants to get back home to Darkseid. Like he just, I don't know. He's like this poor little puppy who just wants to come home. Which once again, I don't justify his actions, but. Yeah. Yeah, no, it shows that there's like a lot more behind it that we don't know about, because he talks about like betraying his family. Yeah. And, like, he's justifying it like, well, I'm gonna do this or whatever. Yeah, which once again, this is world building, right? There's stuff that's going on beyond just the people on screen and stuff, right? Like there's this backstory between Darkseid and Steppenwolf, and you don't know exactly what it is, but you know that at some point Steppenwolf betrayed him. You're like, okay, cool. Whereas in the Justice League version, that whole flashback scene that we get later on, which we will address. Yeah. In that scene, in the Justice League version, it's not Darkseid who's on Earth, but it's Steppenwolf. Because they totally cut Darkseid out. Oh, yeah. And so, and the scene was much briefer, so I wouldn't even blame you if you, forgot about the scene. Because it's very quick, and it's Steppenwolf who shows up, and he fails to capture Earth. And so basically, this is just his, take two. Whereas now, really, it seems like this is more just like a side job. Which really gives you the impression Darkseid's really, he's this big baddie. He's just been conquering all these other worlds. He gets the, outcast to go be like, oh, yeah, just go conquer Earth, and then maybe I'll give you another chance. Yeah, it's it's a different kind of redemption. Yeah, so, I don't know. I like Steppenwolf a whole lot more in this. You even commented about the armor again. Yeah, they cool. Show a lot more detail on that. Yeah. Yeah, so that's pretty neat. Then the other thing we need to talk about, just the progression of the story here, is the Amazonians, right? Because the last chapter ended, I don't know, chapter, part, I think they call it part in the thing. I'm going to call it chapter. The last chapter ended with the Amazonian battle where Steppenwolf took the first mother box. And so this one picks up with them, and they take the Arrow of Artemis. I got some Major 300 vibes in this scene. And they shoot the arrow over into, I'm assuming, Greece. Where it lands into a temple of the Amazonians, and Diana's over here in the Louvre. She's working on a statue, and they're like, "Oh, what you up to?" And she's like, "Oh, I didn't do anything this weekend." Even though she killed a few guys and stuff, but whatever. In a heroic fashion, it's fine. And then she ends up going, and she gets the arrow and stuff, and we get basically she just walks in there and grabs it. Yeah, it's kind of weird. But what do you think about that whole scene? It was cool. The part after that was pretty cool, Indiana Jones. You mean Indiana Jones? Sorry, I made that joke in the middle of the movie, and I knew I had to mention it because I just thought that was funny. It's Indiana Jones, right? She lands in this hidden cave, and then she grabs the arrow, puts it in this thing, this hidden passage. It's it's very Indiana Jones. And I'm like, well, her name's Diana, so in Diana, right? I think it's a really funny joke. I think we should patent it. We'll give you that one. Well, yeah, thank you. But they did a lot better job of contextualizing the weight boxes for sure. Yes, yeah, because she shows up and it's just it's a prettier scene. It's really cool. Yeah, it's very she's in here, this hidden passage where there's this entire history of the world, and you're oh, you're figuring out why she knows about this stuff. In the Justice League version, she just comes to Bruce and exposition dumps, and you're how the heck did you know this? You knew all this information and you didn't tell anybody? Yeah. What are you doing? Whereas this one, you actually get that, and the closest thing you get to this scene in the Justice League version is the weird cave paintings on the wall in the random pub that Aquaman is helping people out at. It's really strange. Yeah. So this is done a lot better, but I do agree. I just think the scene's really weird whenever she just walks into the temple, plucks out the arrow, and walks back out without any supervision. Nobody gets onto her, nothing, I guess. The arrow's still there. Yeah, I guess if you're a pretty woman dressed in, business attire, and you look like you know what you're doing, they're I don't know, seems legit. They made it kind of seem like she snuck in there. She, looked around the corner, but I just feel like it would have been more guarded. Well, it's she snuck in there, but then, when she grabs it, she literally just walks out into the daylight and just, holds the arrow up and looks at it. I'm like, Okay, I guess that's what we're doing now.
Seems legit.
Yeah, so it's pretty funny. So we get Indiana Jones, and then we cut to Aquaman, and we get to see him save a guy, and then, he, like, gets some whiskey, and then he walks out very dramatically.
Was that entire scene in the other one? Or was there anything that they, like, cut out or, like, added?
It was very condensed, right? So we do have him saving the guy off the boat. We do have him throwing this guy on the table and stuff and taking the whiskey. But they added one thing in the other one where, like, there was, like, this green goop.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was kind of weird. I think it was supposed to be something to do with the parademons or something, but that wasn't in this one at all.
I'm trying to remember what happened there. With
I think it was just something to let him realize, I need to go check something out. But then you didn't have the scene, because immediately after this...
scene after, yeah.
You have the slow-mo walk, where I think you get a condensed version of that in the Justice League one, too.
Yeah.
It definitely doesn't linger as long. This one lingers a really long time. And then, obviously, we do have, Jason Momoa ripping off another shirt and throwing it into the ocean. I'm like, literally, we're an hour into this movie. He's already discarded 2 tops, a sweater and a shirt. Keeps throwing them away. I'm like, where are you getting these? Like, where is your source of income? Are you just stealing people's clothes and then they're just trashing them? I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But then immediately after that, we get the scene where he swims underwater. He goes to, I guess, Atlantis, and he encounters Willem Dafoe, who in this movie is Willem Defriend, because he's a friend. He's basically trying to encourage Aquaman to, like, claim his throne, right? Because he is the rightful king of Atlantis and stuff. And that scene is not in the Justice League.
But that seems pretty important, because I don't know if it's, like, implied in the movie that he's not taking up his throne or not, like, neglecting it, but...
They address it in one scene in the Justice League one, but one thing I appreciate here is that in this movie, like when the guy's name's Volko, I think that's his name. Volko, he's talking to him, and he's got, like, Aquaman's trident, which it's a fork, not a trident. I don't know. It's got 5 spokes. That's not a trident, right? Trident's 3.
Yeah.
The king dude, he had a trident. But this one, it was 5. I don't know. But, so he tries to get him to take the trident, and he also has, like, a suit of armor there. Like, in his hands. And I'm like, oh, okay, so that explains where Aquaman's gonna get this stuff. Because in the Justice League one, I was like, where'd you get the armor at? Like, like later on in the movie, I was like, where did that come from? Yeah. So once again, we're getting context. We see that this guy, like, every time Aquaman shows up in Atlantis, he's like, hey, take your spot as the king and stuff. They do address it a little bit in Justice League, but really that's something they save mainly for the Aquaman movie. Which, once again, you have to remember, this movie was originally supposed to come out before that.
Yeah, and it also helps you know how he knows about the whole mother box thing, because isn't that how he, like, isn't he tell him about it?
Yes, yeah. He says, hey, you need to go and you need to protect it in Atlantis. Like, we've got one of the mother boxes, it's your job to protect it, you need to go do that. Whereas, I guess, in the Justice League one, it was just because of the cave paintings on the side of that pub or whatever, so.
That'll do it.
Yep, that'll do it. Just right there, boom. All the pubs got it. Everybody knows about the mother boxes. And then, basically, the final thing that you need to address here is basically Diana... Indiana Jones. She goes up to Bruce. She sneaks into the, I guess, Bat Cave. Is that where they're at? I don't know. He's working on working on the Bat plane or whatever, and so she sneaks in there and they start talking. And she basically, this is her chance to do an exposition dump, and she basically lets him know what the heck is going on. Yeah. And now we at least know where she's coming from and how she knows this information. Yeah. And this is where we get this really cool flashback.
That was pretty dope.
And this is what the whole title refers to, right? The Age of Heroes. Well, actually, technically, the title refers to something they say after the flashback, where they say, like, the Age of Heroes needs to come. Yeah. Right? But technically, this is like the former Age of Heroes. This is the first Age of Heroes, right? You've got the Greek gods. You've got a Green Lantern. You've got all the people. What is it? The Amazonians, the Atlanteans, and the humans. Yeah. All converging together to take on this threat.
It's like an old covenant.
Yeah, exactly, right? You're getting ahead of me. You're getting ahead of me, Sean. You're getting ahead of me. Don't take that from me yet. Don't take it from me yet. Okay. We'll get there. We will get there. But yeah, so we have this huge scene, epic battle, where we are introduced to Darkseid. Yeah. It's a young Darkseid, right? We don't have his name given in the movie, but I would assume that this is supposed to be Prince Uxas, or Prince, King, I don't know. His name was Uxas before he became Darkseid. And so this is like a young guy, he's new to the world-conquering business. He's just a rube. And so he shows up, he does some cool stuff, but then eventually he gets chopped up by Ares and has to, like, flee.
Should have aimed for the heart.
Should have. That's funny. Like, a lot of people, I've seen people referencing that.
Wait,
like,
really?
Yeah. Should have aimed for the head.
Or head, yeah.
Should have aimed for the head because Ares...
It's the same spot.
Yep, same spot. It's like, snaps his fingers. Everybody dies. That's a Thanos reference. Actually, I think... if you just watched our reaction video, I think that Jonathan actually made the same reference in our reaction video. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you might have actually just seen that scene in there, because I probably edited it in there.
I was surprised, though, to see Green Lantern in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually thought it was really cool that they
But
did
you
it.
said it's not like the Green Lantern, it's like there are Green Lanterns?
Yeah, so the Green Lanterns, it's basically, there's this Green Lantern Corps, right? There's like, basically there's this whole planet, I think it's called Oa or something, where they get their energy source from.
Yeah.
And there's Green Lanterns for like every district or every something of the entire universe.
Okay.
And so there's one who's appointed to Earth and like the surrounding, like basically that, like,
it's like
that sector.
It's almost like a police force.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, pretty much. And so there's really a bunch of Green Lanterns, like even in the comics, for Earth, there ends up being like, what, Hal Jordan, John Stewart. There's like a bunch of them. I don't know that much about the Green Lanterns.
I just thought there was one hero called the Green Lantern. But...
Yeah, no, it's like this whole thing where, once again, the DC stuff, they have a lot more mythology to them, like where it's like, oh, this isn't just something that's just starting. It's like there's a bunch going on, which I think is kind of cool. But yeah, the one thing I really liked about their inclusion of the Green Lantern here, I don't know which one this was. I think people like talked about who it was. He dies in this scene, right? He dies because Darkseid chops his hand off, which, you know, I mean, he can't do much without his ring, and then he stabs him. But then what happens is the ring flies off. And the way the Green Lantern rings work is they go try to seek a new person who's worthy of, like, the ring.
Oh.
And it flies up to Darkseid.
Wait, really?
Which is kind of,
I didn't notice
like,
that.
it flies up to him, and then he goes to grab it, but then, like, an arrow pierces him, and so, like, it knocks him away, and so, the ring flies off.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, but I just thought that was kind of cool, because, I mean, the reason, like, the people who hold the Green Lantern rings, like, those are people, they're supposed to be without fear, right? Like, that's the person who can have a Green Lantern ring. Like, you can't have fear. Mm-hmm. And, I was like, whoa. Like, it's pretty, like, that just tells you who Darkseid is, right? He's not afraid. Like, the ring almost chose him, and he would have grabbed it, and thinking about how powerful he would have been if he had that. It's like, ooh. But yeah, I thought that was like a cool little detail there. Like, there's a Green Lantern. Okay, cool. We don't get a Green Lantern in this movie at all, unfortunately, other than that one.
Yeah.
But technically, spoiler alert, Zack Snyder originally wanted to include a Green Lantern in this. They just did not give him permission to. And so he had to shift around some things, and, you know, we'll talk about that later on.
Aww.
Yeah. But that being said, that is basically, you know, I thought it was a really cool scene. You get all that stuff. You get to know what happened with the mother boxes, how they ended up on Earth, right? Darkseid brought them with like his little, I guess they're almost like prophets, right? Like the prophets of Darkseid or something. Like they bring them.
Oh, yeah.
But then whenever they get run off, like they leave the boxes there. And so they split them up, you know, like there's 3 different people, right? There's the men, there's the Amazonians, there's the Atlanteans. They each take one. And they hide them away.
I'm still trying to figure out how Cyborg has the man one, because I'm assuming that's the one he'd have.
Yeah, well, so we do address that a little bit earlier. They'll explain it a little bit more later on in the movie. But they did address, there's one scene in this chapter where you get to meet Cyborg's dad, who is Silas Stone. And basically there's this attack at the Kryptonian spaceship that Star Labs is working at, which has been featured in the previous movies and stuff. And in the aftermath, like, this custodian guy gets killed. Yeah. And in the aftermath, people are like going around trying to figure out what's going on, and they say, hey, there's this box that's empty. And Silas is like, yeah, I was studying that. And he doesn't say where it went.
Yeah.
What happened is, this is kind of revealed in Batman vs. Superman, just in a brief scene, but what happened is he was experimenting on the box, and whenever his son got into, like, a car wreck and was near death, he was experimenting on the box, and the box used its power to create Cyborg. Oh. And so that's what happened. And they're going to explain more of how he actually got his hands on the box in the first place later on. But that's like the short story there. So that's how Cyborg's related to the box and stuff, because his dad kind of stole the box and it created him.
Okay. I mean, he did mention that his dad made him, but I figured it was like his dad literally made it, like, did that himself. Yeah. But I guess he didn't. The box.
Like, well, his dad was trying to do something. Like, his dad had him, like, all, like, tied up to, like literally... He barely had any appendages left. No, I think all of his body was pretty much gone. It was literally just like a torso and his head. And he was just like up there.
But he wasn't like dead or anything?
He wasn't dead. No, he was barely hanging on to life. And so his dad was like desperate, and like so stuff happened where the mother box just like attached itself to him. And it's like, okay. And then he turned into like a cyborg. And it's like, okay, well, this is weird. But so you can see how just in this one, because there's that link between Cyborg and the mother boxes, Cyborg's going to become very important later on in the movie, whereas Cyborg's not important at all in the Justice League one.
But like, I guess something about Cyborg, he doesn't seem to like enjoy his existence almost.
No, yeah.
But I don't know what's the reason for that. Do you know?
Well, they'll explain that more later on. Yeah. Right now, really in this scene, I think was this the first scene we've had with Cyborg so far? Yeah, and we've only gotten just one brief scene in this chapter, so just hold tight.
On.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They'll explain some more. They'll explain his relationship with his dad and stuff, and
We're
like
only in
everything.
part 2, so
Yeah, so hang in there, buddy. You're getting ahead of us. This is why you watch the whole thing.
I'm used to the first movie where 50 minutes in he had 2 of the 3.
Exactly.
And we were an hour 9 in now, and he just barely got 1.
Yeah, exactly. But that being said, that's basically everything that happens in this chapter. And then real quick, I forgot to do this in the first video, but I was wanting to do some theological implications and insights from the show. And so I didn't do this in the first chapter. I meant to, but I want to do this for every single chapter, so hopefully I will remember to do it in future ones. But real quick, in the first chapter, the main thing that I saw theologically, really the whole thing that drove that first part, the Don't Count on It Batman one, it was Superman's death, right? And so for some reason, to me, the thing that kept coming to my mind on that particular chapter, it was almost like the dark Saturday, like the day after Jesus died. You know, it's like just this day where there's like no hope, you know, and everybody's just dejected. And it's the day in between the crucifixion and the resurrection, right? And for some reason that kind of kept coming to my mind, which really it's not a theological implication yet, because, you know, Superman hasn't come back yet. But it sets the idea of hopelessness in there, right? Where there's this restlessness and people are looking for something to give them hope. And that's what I was kind of sensing in that first chapter, where it's like, okay, Batman's going out, he's trying to get people to prepare them. He's trying to get people to help him out, but they're turning him down. And he doesn't know what to do. And he senses something big is coming, and he doesn't think he can handle it. And he's like, and like the whole thing is everybody saying, man, we wish Superman was around, and we miss him. And right now, what day is today? Tuesday? Yeah. This is Tuesday of Holy Week, right? So we are approaching Easter. I don't know when you're going to see this video, but it's Tuesday right now. And so it's very fitting, you know. We're thinking about, you know, Jesus entering into Jerusalem, him suffering, dying. And then on Saturday, we'll, not celebrate, but really just reflect on the day when he was gone, right? And then on Sunday, there's the resurrection. So that's what I was thinking about for the first chapter. This chapter, the main thing I was thinking about, it really hinges on that flashback, right? You kind of addressed it a second ago because you were talking about like some old covenant stuff. It made me think about basically this concept of enduring evil, right? Because what we learn in this chapter is that Steppenwolf, he'd come to Earth before. He had tried to conquer them, and they did run him off, but it wasn't him, sorry, it was Darkseid, right? Darkseid came, and he was this looming evil that they couldn't fully conquer, right? I mean, they did run him off for the time being, but he's still out there, and he's going to return with a vengeance, right? And Darkseid, the threat of Darkseid looms over the whole movie even more so than the threat of Steppenwolf. And so there's this idea to me of like, you know, it's something in the ancient past of these people trying to defeat this evil and slightly overcoming it, but still falling short. Yeah. And to me, this reminded me of like, you know, the Old Testament, New Testament. It's like these people, like when you look at the Old Testament, you have people trying again and again and again to combat evil. Yet there's this promise throughout the whole thing that somebody will come to defeat evil once and for all. Yeah. And so when Jesus shows up on the scene, he's the one who obliterates evil. And he runs it off.
How many chapters are in this again?
Well, there's 6 chapters and then an epilogue.
Okay, and which one does Superman...
I'm not spoiling that for you, Sean. Okay. I'm not spoiling that for you. I can't tell you that. Sorry, bud. But yeah, he'll come back. Don't worry. But yeah, so this is what it made me think of, right? It made me just think of this idea of like this evil that everybody wants to overthrow, and they're looking for that hope. So it's building off the theme of the last one, right? Jesus, he's dead, right? Everybody's thinking, oh my gosh, like he was our chance. He was our chance. Like if there was anybody who could overthrow this evil, we thought it would be Jesus. Yeah. But Jesus died too, right? Everybody dies, and Jesus died. We didn't think that would happen. But then when Jesus resurrects on Sunday, it's like, oh yeah, we're not losing now. And so the same thing here, right? Everybody's been trying to fight Darkseid, trying to fight all this stuff. Superman's going to show up, and there's all of a sudden going to be a fighting chance. Yeah. You know, and so to me, that's like the theological implication that I wanted to do there, just because I think that's important. I really like looking at movies and trying to figure out, like, ooh, what does this speak of theologically, even if it's not like a Christian show. But yeah, did you have anything else you wanted to address about this entire chapter part? section?
I can't think of anything right now.
Okay, cool. You excited to watch more of it?
Heck yeah, I am.
All right, rock on. Well, there is part 2 of Zack Snyder's Justice League. This one was called The Age of Heroes, and we will be back for part 3, which I can't remember the title of right now, but whenever we come up with that, the title will be in there. So that being said, I'm David.
I'm Sean.
And this has been Let's Be Honest About Movies. We will see you later.